Well, hello, 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 and welcome back to Tales of Arise, for potentially the final time. Because if I am at the end of the game... Nice. We got there eventually. I didn't think it was going to be that far, but...
Be on your guard.
Oh wait, the only thing I am missing is a weapon, I think. Next, I don't have his stupid main. Done all of hers. Haven't done hers. Done all of his. Oh no, it is just a farm fence. So I actually have everyone's weapon. Never mind, that'll do. Don't want an accessory. Is there anything that I can buy? I'll get 8. I'm gonna bloody well need them.
You can never be too prepared.
Of course, I have livestock that's reached maturity.
Spend so much?
So I just want to get this trophy out of the way. Not that it matters. So if I can't get to rank 100. I mean, I haven't looked that up. Yay. No more ranching crap. Yeah, so I've looked up the trophy to get to rank 100. It is doable in like 2 hours. There's a secret optional boss you can fight. And you just grind him over and over again. Can I move? Oh, Law's almost dead already. Not what I wanted to do. If I get the main, I can at least make the weapon later.
I wonder if we can make new weapons with this.
No, I'm already back. I was fearful of having to fight that bloody giant mantis. Level 44. This is not gonna go well.
Soon, we might very well learn the truth behind Shield. I have to be ready to face anything. I'm determined to
The
serve
only
Shield.
way is up.
Nothing.
Yep, whatever. Get on with it. And let's just hope we don't get our asses handed to us because we're underleveled. The Forbidden Zone. Bom bom bom.
Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
I want to look through that room over there.
Didn't want to.
We'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out.
No, fuck it, whatever. I'm assuming I have to go forwards anyway.
This looks like some kind of research facility.
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised at this point?
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out. It might give us a new lead.
For the pe- I think I can make this work.
Well, can you make head or tail of it?
These are experiment records by the looks of it. Reams of them, dating back hundreds of years. Let's see.
Hey, how you doing?
A composite being capable of controlling Danon astral energy so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure taking the form of a Danon. Codename Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the master course. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the Lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renin citizens. In other words, it may be that all Renins are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
No, not grand
The Sovereign.
scheme.
Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait,
What is it? Did you find something?
it's a list of names. With the
Excuse me.
title, Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them
Oh, was it
failures.
him by any chance?
Wait, I think I found one that was successful. Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
It's fine, really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Volron.
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron? That means...
He's only sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, You and Volron are the only two subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined. When a new sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been two sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised.
Can someone put two and two together that it's most likely gaining the astral energy
That's true.
so they can summon some
Been in charge for the past
dark
3 centuries,
spirit?
right? If it wasn't the sovereign, then who was it?
Like, that should be
Contests have been held
fairly
this whole
obvious
time,
by now.
in spite of the fact that there was already a sovereign, me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
Red woman.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the mastermind behind this scheme. She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renan homeworld.
Either way, it's fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
What about the data records? Is there no other information?
She said data, not data.
Not that I can see. Just file upon file of experiment results. There's nothing here about who's behind all this, or what their endgame is, unfortunately. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all, but you're welcome to take a look through what you can, while we're here.
I'll do that.
You actually gonna make me do it, or?
Only
No. Well, that mask explains what that was. At least. A sedative. Well, we've read everything. Moving on. I'm assuming more reading. And this was his prison. Oh no, it's saying that it'll give me 3 life bottles. And of course keep that chest there. There's no trophy for chests, so
Naori, I...
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Renan never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Elfin. Farewell.
Naori...
and Rip Naori. Hello, great
Short-term treatment isn't going to
granddaughter.
cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system.
Been over this.
But... if I don't head back, Lenegis will be nothing but ashes. And this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough.
Just go already.
Please, live for me, Alphen. That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alphen escape Lenegis.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her, she chose to stay put with her people.
So that's why
people.
you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one agonizing decision Naori made to save your life.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her everything. More than I could ever hope to repay.
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on honoring her wishes?
Spelled wrong.
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force, then I owe it to her to carry on her fight. Naori was the one who put that mask on me, and made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain.
Just let me fight the red woman. Stab her in the face.
But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
Red woman. He's done with that level 60.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renis Alma was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
God, at the end of the world.
Alma isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori.
Naori? What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth and give shape to the strength inside of him.
As always.
To Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion.
Oh god, not Oblivion again.
When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first.
Yeah, about that.
With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alphen the Sovereign was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse onto my descendants as well.
Oh shit.
Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just... Naori.
That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Danan voice speaking through her?
Nice outfit.
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
Yep, cloth.
And they appeared
Cloth
now
does exactly that.
because-
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Except instead we just got cleavage.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
Cleavage.
Possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but
No,
I
no,
just
no,
can't
no.
seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still. No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
This way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until we find it.
Don't need to.
We can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
Yeah, I know. I can see two pretty damn good miracles myself.
We're all in this together, Shion. You included.
That's why he's got the eye patches on now, so we can just...
Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Shion. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years.
Lazy
The
bastard.
reason you lost your memories.
Is the reason for your curse.
The thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No, the truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, and
I'll give you
pleasing
that one.
everyone. All the normal things that
I mean, you could
people
still
do.
slap him.
I
It's just that it will
always
hurt more.
experience them for myself and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end and
That's not going to happen.
I think you
I'm
die.
here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead, and it's for my sake, so I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
Now an advanced healing heart restores all allies' HP. I don't mind if I do. The Dale of Garm officer Lazay Fahui.
So,
That I can just barely pronounce. You're telling me I made the bloody Gladius Ren for no reason. Moment. Well, a lot of this is just going to be cutscenes, isn't it? And then just a few boss fights.
That's quite some door, all right. This might finally be it. The heart of the beast.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
After everything we've been through to get here, they damn well better be.
We'll probably be needing.
Why'd you keep switching to your silver armor?
Go for it, Alphen.
I didn't want to save, but whatever.
This is it, guys. Time to see what secrets are in store.
Nope, no, it will give me a res point anyway. Not that I need it.
Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma.
Reveals the path.
Then,
and shows
is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
5
Wait, though. Something doesn't seem right here.
place. Oh, once more, the powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Rena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Shows the way.
Hey, look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the Maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
Well, if I've got to do a 3-phase boss fight, then yes.
Transformation. And the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion.
You're now only figuring this out, mate.
We can't
You're a little
lie and let them steal Dana's energy.
slow.
That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all. From the fires of chaos.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alphen, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible?
They're the heels of a bloody... Fuck, I forgot her name. From Powerpuff Girls, the secretary for the maid, the mayor. I'm fairly certain she has similar sort of just pointy down feet.
For sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
Oh, three red women.
It's no use, Alphen.
And the greatest thing is, hello, Hyper. And the greatest thing is, I'm on level for this. I'll probably have to read that in a minute if you don't mind. Is that true, or are you just BSing me? It's true. Or just think that didn't even happen to me, so. This is one I've done for you in a man of the occasion. But your cousin decided... Wait, you're not from the south of America, are you? Because I'd understand why your cousin would do that. Green was your cousin, not the bride. Okay, never mind then, so I guess it was perfectly legal. How was it then? Did you enjoy it? Just to get you out of that, because I don't want to get you hurt. Not how it goes. Steel Tails of Arse. Yes, well this is the third to last boss. If the guide that I read is correct, this is the third to last boss. Thank you for getting you to dance. Of course I didn't dance. Not because I didn't want to, but at no point did anyone. And I'm not getting up on a fucking dance floor listening to random ass music. Looking like a twat. I know everyone else was doing that, but... Button mashing? No, I'm not button mashing, surprisingly. I'm just pressing a button, a thing happens, and I press another button, something else happens. Of course I'd fucking miss. Did Lord just die again? For fuck's sake. I mean, she can't fucking res him, so...
Where are you going?
In a vine?
Raging cascade! We bring you back from death's abyss. Stockpile.
Not now, not ever.
Don't leave me! Healing throw! I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
You know, it's really annoying when you get 3 generic enemies as your boss, but they have an attack that basically just encompasses them before they attack. So even if you're not in their generic range where they can hit you, they'll probably just kill you anyway, because why the hell not? How did... I did not get hit by that, fuck you. I did not get hit by that. This game is shite. Partially, yeah. Like I say, the combat's annoying from time to time. Like I say, I'm a boss. I'm going to throw something this way, but before I throw it, it's going to spawn in the middle of me. So even if you're behind me and you're meleeing me, you're still going to get hit by my move, even though I'm pinging it that way. It's stupid. I should not be hit by a move that's being flung that way if I'm over there.
Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve!
No, I know, Hyper, it's just a joke.
What? It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Which video? Because if you sent me something else, Discord never pinged me. Unless you're talking about the CSGO thing.
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much.
I mean, yeah, it's great how you get a CSGO match where people are fucking around, and me, it's... Rush B!
We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart. Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me? You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Yes.
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alf, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
Me sure about that.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana.
Who's lady in the shiny silver armor holding the golden shield? She knew. Oh no, she's been in the game since Pretty Boy over here has.
You and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Voron was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a...
slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a
Master
slave,
of Dana.
why would you
I
inflict that upon
would
others?
be playing that right now if I could.
Renin and Dana are meaningless distinctions. He and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman.
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alva!
Arg.
Like, you can't stay here.
We need to go. Outfit!
Everyone saying goodbye to Volron. Oh, upskirt. Right, you do know she has a double jump ability, which I very specifically gave her. You know what would be great is if she just fucking tripped. Whoop. Can I just get the upskirt shot again, please? Yeah, it just turns up and just boom.
Go. But no, I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Man who's on fire. Currently having a general conversation.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
I'm on fire.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Is Volron... Have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
That was my joke for the
Could
day.
they be the
Wasn't very
ones behind
funny,
all
but
this?
I'll take it.
The same ones who put those soldiers and Faria in a trance?
What? Those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renus Alma. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now, those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off to Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah.
Big golden
There's
face.
a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renus Alma in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Renan's...
So apparently Alphen's dead and has 0 health. Only has 1 health.
Yeah, and not in a...
I didn't...
And of course I can't fucking fast travel. Oh, stop doing this to me, game, for the love of fuck. Like, just let me fast travel back to the bloody starship, or as far back before you force a bloody cutscene on me. Because if there's not a single cutscene between here and me getting back on the ship, then this game can fuck off. Not allowing me to fast travel out of a long-ass walking section that has nothing to do with anything. I guess I can pick up the life bottles now, then. Like, seriously, what's stopping me from fast traveling here? Because if I'm here, and I go through here, to go through here, to run back through this fucking dungeon again to get to here, if I can get to here and there's no exclusive cutscenes, fuck this game. Was that the toilet or a trash can? Oh, the thing that I just touched. Oh, it's a chest. If you're talking about the thing that I just touched and opened up, that's it's a space chest. I skipped it. Yep, and now I'm back to where I could have fast traveled to. Fuck you, game. I'm gonna assume a cutscene's gonna play out, but why don't you let me fast travel here?
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing, so she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set
Are they
in
space
among
people?
citizens.
Yes, I'm on a space moon.
Until now, whenever
Or a
something like
space
this
station.
happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
I predict a riot.
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest ranking person in Lenegis right now?
Dohalim.
Lenegis wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Bald.
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow remnants of Lenegis. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elderman and Sia.
Look up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind.
These people look short, but shouldn't they be slightly taller due to less gravity?
The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be
That's my answer.
differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and
Do you want a JRPG writer to make this factually correct? We are talking about a space station harnessing ethereal energy from a planet and its people so they can summon forth the dark demon spirit lord. And you want these moon people to be a little bit taller because no gravity. Okay. Let me just... Yes, hello, is that the writer for Tales of Arise? You're an idiot.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time
That's a
being.
common occurrence.
What you said earlier.
Yeah, but she's a dainty little woman.
Not even existing.
Dainty little woman.
Was it true?
Except for the tall, fierceful woman.
Still too premature to say with any certainty. But I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been
She looks
fed
14
was a
and
lie,
40 at the same time.
built on nothing but
Yes.
falsehoods.
She's the same age as that twat with the glasses on there, and the guy she's talking to right now.
After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone,
Or within reason, she'll be about the same age.
it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
By turning you into the 20-odd-year-old you should be instead of looking, like you say, 40
Here
and
in
14.
Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different.
Because he looks fucking Egyptian, that's why.
I feel like like maybe now I can finally begin to accept turn against death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegus till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegus who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits.
You think? Dohalim, Renan leader.
Looks like the people of Lenegus can rest easy.
In one... How long...
That's all his ship created there. I know hers is done. Hers isn't done because I still need some chameleons. His is done, I know, his is done. Hers is not done because I need some blistering fangs. Which I don't think anyone has.
Have you guys...
Yeah, no one has blistering fangs.
Checked your
So those two weapons I can't do just yet anyway. And I'm guessing I still can fast travel, can't I? Oh, might as well rest here then. And I still can't make the Shimi. Where the hell am I gonna find Seabream? Oh, cause I just need to make this. Well, then I can be fine. Oh, Seabream. I guess I found one before, but... Oh, sandwich. Try looking in the water. I'm in space. Where do you think I'm finding water? Where do you think there is going to currently be the nearest body of water that is thriving with fish? Because I'm going to give you a hint. It's not going to be on a bloody space station. And what do space people drink? Not fish, I can tell you that much.
That turned out good.
Yeah, not fish. I don't know, why are you asking me? Ask the space people. They've lived up here for at least 300 years. I have no idea. I mean, ignore this water. But I'm talking about the nearest body of water that has bloody fish in it. I would more than hazard a guess that it doesn't exist around here. There's a giant space lake on the space station. Maybe. I know there isn't, but maybe. I mean, for as big as this place clearly is, somewhere on here there's going to be some sort of fishing spot, but... Oh no, the child died. Rip. Ripperino. We're now there. And there it is. Dana. And over on the other side, even though you can't see it, is Rena. There are 12 fishing locations in this game. Did you really just fucking Google that? Why?
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems.
I thought that we'd find more.
Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out...
You wanna know if there's a space lake? No.
Yeah.
I only turned up here just to kill two bosses.
All the
And then promptly move on.
are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
Nope. I mean, I've been prepared for 40 hours,
So,
but...
what do we
hey-ho.
do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should...
Red woman. Red women. And that's the end of the game. So it was nice. But how can they breathe in space? Because, as you can see, they don't exist. At least I assume they don't exist. If I had to hazard a guess. Nice graphics. I mean, this is on the PS4. Although I am playing on the PS5. But...
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone, look there!
It doesn't actually exist. They must have mined it for all the bloody astral energy that it was worth. Or it's another fucking space station. Of course it's a flower. What was a bloody flower?
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Do you not hear the beeping noise?
Fortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
Yep.
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here?
You're gonna punch it out and it's just gonna work.
We have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down. You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
Probably his friends.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegus in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
The summit.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our...
That be...
I'm not listening to any of these. World's not accessible. Okay, let's go to the bridge. Essentially, we went. What about the other level? And before this is the Matrix.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that?
I was a commander on Naori.
It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have
No, never mind, it's just a
guests
fucking
these
alien.
days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way.
Oh,
Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil.
And that's where the fruit of Helgen comes from, then, I suppose.
The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this Great Spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this Great Spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this Great Spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrek 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's Great Spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegus was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renasalma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Yes.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transferred to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
They just agree to help. Get it over and done with.
Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Otherwise.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Renans are just Danans.
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevrecht 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
I'm assuming Renans are Danans, but...
Or perhaps there's even more.
Renans are...
Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Basically, people like... Oh, magic friend over here. Oh, this is a Mass Effect bullshit story where this is an ancient civilization race that obviously lived on Rena. Rena went kaboom as it imploded on itself to suck out all of its own energy.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrecht 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Hey, random people.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
What? But Nani? Nanda to?
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't, but there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language, people of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil...
Ooh, so the Renans are slaves to enslave Danans.
We were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all...
It's usually how that works.
They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there.
You mean Magic Lady over there?
Can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use Astro Arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
And it goes...
So calmly about all of this.
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
And let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
But what about an Assassin's Creed revelation?
Have you guys lived up here in Deg Faisal with Hevrecht 35 for a long time?
Yes, I
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegus from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently, there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
Did she not just say that?
Working for Hevrecht 35 ever since?
We heard that this was moved because of an accident. Yeah, funny that. There was an accident.
The Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
I gathered that. I asked you the question.
Have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans.
Like, I can't ask you, so, do you know what happened in this accident? Oh, yeah. There was an accident. It's not a fucking answer.
Explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art?
Well, that's not how questions work.
I haven't been able to scientifically
You know, do you know what 2 plus 2 is? Oh, I heard what 2 plus 2 is, you know.
Cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also use
could you tell me?
And information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrecht 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegus? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
What question? She didn't answer any of them. Also, nice one long fucking cutscene.
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegus to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were 2 problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied.
Yeah, about that.
The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana.
As always, it has to be a flower.
As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
Yes, please, I would like to leave.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
Well, we all know who they're banging.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to
also
say
a massive info dump.
Looking for. Does everyone agree?
Even though I would much rather just take a dump.
Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans is...
No, we've been fucking over this.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Everything...
We do not genuinely... Hold on. We do not genuinely need to talk to these people and then rediscuss everything that we've just been told. Fucking hell. Like, I know people can't write for shit, but fucking hell. It's like, we do not need to have an info dump and then take an even bigger dump by just infoing more dump to go over everything that we've just been bloody told for the past 10 hours. I don't care. We've just been told what's happened. Can we move on? Nope, well there it is. Maybe some kids who don't get it the first time. I mean, I know this game, at least on the front thing, it says it's for at least 12-year-olds, but that's only because the people who fucking rate these games only look at the bloody gameplay. And because there's no drugs or anything involved, there's violence, bad language, and in-game purchases, which I'm thankful is on these. Violence makes sense. Bad language, people say bastard a few times because Japan pretty much only uses bastard. And then in-game purchases because who doesn't want to spend £3 on some skins? But yeah. The problem is, and obviously what I'm about to say may make me sound like an arsehole, and I don't care. But, and again, this isn't true for everything, but I live in the Western world where we have this thing called intelligence or subtlety, where you can have an info dump to answer your questions because these are questions that do kind of need to be answered. So that's fine. Having an info dump is fine. When you need to answer some questions and you're running out of time as a writer to actually explain them as you play, and you just sort of go, here's one cutscene and here's like 10 paragraphs of bloody crap just to catch up on what's going on. That's whatever. I then don't need my entire party member or my entire team, to then go over all the information and hypothesize everything that's going on. Like, what are you hypothesizing about? You've just seen a planet that is supposed to exist essentially be completely demolished. You're now at a random space station in the middle of bumfuck nowhere talking to an alien. That alien is also talking about some great spirit thing that blah 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 and all this little bullshit. I don't need everyone to hypothesize. Maybe what it's telling us is true. Because what other theories do you have? No, I don't need it. Like, info dump all you want. I then don't need my party members to go over it like 3 times. Which is basically what they're doing now as well.
Don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like
Maybe they're trying to foreshadow another plot twist.
What do you
Foreshadowing?
think we've learned about the
There is no foreshadowing. There's only... Again, the beginning of the game is you're being enslaved by another planet's people. By this point, you're now learning, oh, alien... You know the meme that... Aliens, guy, that's basically what just happened. 1 minute it's... You're trying to free your planet from slavery. The next minute it's... Aliens? And gods?
Distance between Danans and Renans and Menancia is still a work in progress.
Because also Alphen is 300 years old, by the way. Because
I was still on guard.
of course he is.
So
And her thorn evil power that's stuck inside of her is basically the darkest energy in the universe that's trying to get out and destroy it. Because of course. Like there is no foreshadowing. The only foreshadowing is what happens 3 seconds when someone asks a question.
You mean about the Renans?
And then they answer it.
At the end of the day, the Helgan Quill and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible.
Because I would more than argue, and if someone can prove me wrong, by all means, but I would more than argue nothing at the beginning of the game made you think, wink, wink.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It's just
It'd be nice if
shit
one day
like
people
this in
could learn
general.
to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway.
Like, for example, as well, like the magic girl that I've got on my team, whose family hid themselves away for many, many, many years because of what people thought of them, when in reality they probably hid themselves because of being kidnapped by the aliens.
But I think it's a good first step.
Again, no foreshadowing done at all. It's just that obviously she was only ever told, and I would assume her parents were only ever told, it's because Danans hate people with magic, when in reality the only people who actually knew the reason why they told that little white lie is because they don't want to tell them about this whole race of aliens, because it was much easier to explain.
You both seem awfully calm.
No.
Only because
Because he's not a boss in this.
we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk
He's
about
not.
the Renans looked like it shook
Spoiler
you a
alert.
bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Danan mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but
Yeah, if the guide that I read is correct, there's only 2 bosses left. One of them is a giant golden face. Another one is the god spirit thing that I've got to kill.
Blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
yeah. I
So,
know firsthand just how much hate
I cheated. I looked it up,
once
but
you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danon and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Renwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memory started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live. And I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
maybe.
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important.
Yeah, and I'll be there for
I
you.
just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
Can I spell bloodstain?
That's most important.
Please.
What I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me. To fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Woo. One more person to talk to.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
Dana's a very big place.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to...
Which of my party members are Renan? That pink-haired girl and that red-haired man.
...as the aggressors are irrelevant.
Well, technically none of them. Technically none of them, since they're all Danan. But just that pink-haired girl to the right and red-head over here.
And I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the only blazing sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that
peaceably, without violence or war.
However,
okay.
The fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed.
What's the difference between peaceably versus peacefully?
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
No. So peaceable favors peace rather than conflict, whereas peaceful still might end in conflict.
This time just as friends. Alphen, will you help
me? You learn something new every day.
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Even though these alien people do use an English phrase of, to be frank. Who's Frank? I don't know.
What about you, Shion?
Especially when you got people's names like Shion, Alphen, and whatever.
I might be a Renan
someone being called Frank.
I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate
I mean, I can shove my fist in your face if you want.
I would have never imagined that I'd be
to
traveling
be Shion,
with
you want to
someone
live
like you,
peaceably.
fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and
I mean, I'd rather just live peacefully.
When you consider the
because at least it still ends with me punching her in the face.
Even longer than that. It was Naori's hope.
Just give me the tall blonde short shield lady.
To stop it before it was too late. How it felt
She's the obvious waifu bait.
Heed that call is a mystery.
I don't think.
But I want me a woman.
Would just stop the world
so I want that tall shield maiden.
She considered me a Danan as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved just so they could go back to hurting each other.
Agreed.
Maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier.
Kisara, that's her name.
All that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people. Even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happen in the
past. Did he seriously not just say that? Or am I imagining my own better script?
Moving on and building a better future. We have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt.
I'm going to say thing, you're going to repeat same thing but as a question. I will then agree.
Thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all
But
the
I
people
must also
we care
attack.
about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know.
It's great how I've played this for like 2 hours today and all I've done is run
I want to live
and fight one boss.
truth.
I've fought one boss, but for the last 2 hours all I've done is sit here and watch. Oh, I was gonna say. When all I've done for 2 hours basically, like, let's just say for all intents and purposes, the last 2 hours has been cutscene watching.
At the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
I don't.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns
I mean, if you're going to at least look at her chest, you could pan the camera down slightly.
there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
Now, you've specifically given her a dress to show off her cleavage. At least if you're going to focus on her chest, you could just... a bit.
Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is. Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevric...
So it...
Hopefully the sooner all that traffic pops, the better. I think it was central anyway. But anyway, time for more cutscenes. Because the game knows full well that it's going to take all of about 5 minutes for me to beat this. So let's have 6 hours of cutscenes, 3 boss fights that take 10 minutes a pop.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renus Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renus Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit.
Then just fly me out,
widely enough to make
please.
it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Oh, can we please get on with this?
Wait. Naori said that the Renus Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns could be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renus Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renus Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alvin.
Why?
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
You have to Metroid it then.
I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
No, I wish we'd all just shut the fuck up and leave.
Have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Trippy, the truth. Learn the truth about Dana and Rena on Dake Phasol. I'll take the fight to the Great Spirit. Okay.
Is the red...
Wolzebek has a quest. Not like I can fucking do anything with it anyway until I beat the game. So how long have I been doing nothing for since my last save? So my last save was after I beat the boss, and it was just cutscene after cutscene. It's been an hour. I've been here for an hour watching cutscenes and fucking info dumping. Oh, help me. Like, I prefer my info dumps to be like 5 minutes, not an hour. But either way, once this game is done, I can move on. And then Blind Laser can come back and he can call me a dick or something, and I'll be happy. And
I am.
Like Bloodstained, I'll be even happier.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
Menenzia sounds about nice.
Menenzia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Oh, I'll come and get you, alright.
Did you just...
Not too bad, because the bank's suppression is going to roll over you anyway. Yep.
Thank you, Kisara.
Don't tell them that.
I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all...
We can touch tips.
Don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
No one will have a bone in a JRPG ever, will they?
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Runewell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something.
This when they try to suggest romantic pairings of two members of your party one after the
There
other.
might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole
Probably,
time.
and you can tell because the sappy music's starting to play.
You really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it
And this
because
is the point where I just shut my brain off.
rest of us? Because
Again.
you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Now I also want to believe I can
To
fly.
really resent coming from a
But
family
hey-ho.
of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning. Even if that meaning...
Can I just fuck off like half an hour? I'm gonna sleep. By the time I come back,
Dana's will, I was
someone will still be waffling on about something I don't care about.
It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Oh, so she's not a cat girl, I just put them on her.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
Just like the glasses, she's not supposed to wear glasses either. It's just because she's the resident nerd, because magic and books and whatnot, I just thought I'd put them on her. And him being the resident douchebag, I decided to put some sunglasses on him.
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I
Six
sensed it
finger
when
in
we
his bum.
first got here. It's a
See?
really
I'm
small
inside
amount,
you.
so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
I would rather be...
You said, unless Dana's energy comes together...
Yeah, I want someone to feel the Renin inside me, just...
A little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us.
Yep,
Yeah.
there it is. There it is.
Heverick 35 might know the answer.
Oh.
But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own.
Too much Renin inside.
I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No. What were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember saying anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
That's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
I love you.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
Oh.
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing,
Yeah,
Sheila?
do motion capture for the character's movements.
Same as you. Still trying to absorb
I'd
everything.
say yes, but I couldn't tell you. At times the animation has been a little herky-jerky, but for the most part it's been alright, so if it's hand done,
That feels like a
then
lifetime ago,
nice.
doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Heverick 35 said, The only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the Blazing Sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the Blazing Sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma, but it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
I'll stab her with my flaming sword.
Be serious. Have you forgotten everything that we've...
The Great
I call it
isn't just
Hepatitis
our
B.
It's a threat to our entire world.
Then again, my PP looks about the same as that molten sword anyway, so... It also feels like it's on fire sometimes.
I don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't.
And it only feels good when I grab it and thrust it into other things.
I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to.
So don't you worry, Shionne. I'll stab you with my flaming sword.
But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shionne. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shionne.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had
Oh
never
no,
known.
her loins are on fire.
But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
She's just been like Niagara Falls for the last 40 hours.
You think so?
And that's usually how it works in Japan. Hand holding and immediately it's just...
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I know. Teehee. She's gonna die. Teehee. But not before I do.
Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrecht 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive?
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Dead.
Should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission.
Oh, hell ties. Am I finishing this today? Well, for the last 2.5 hours, all I've done is watch cutscenes. At this rate, probably not.
Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well,
But I am going to the final location to fight the final 2 bosses, so, or the final boss. So providing these people shut the fuck up long enough, I might be able to get it done.
Identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
Because, can we move on? At this rate, this isn't even a movie or a game, because a movie's meant to be entertaining, right?
Trusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable.
Weep's crying right now. Yep. And I'm only crying because I want this to win. This is the tutorial for the real game, don't say that.
To be honest, I don't think it's something...
I would leap out of this building if that was true. Hey, psst, this is only the tutorial.
Time to get back on.
And then I just do the gif of that guy jumping out the window. No, I would just jump out the window. It's easier that way. And I'll send you my hard drive. So you can play Forza.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means.
See, everybody wins.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
You get a free hard drive, even though I've got 2 of them, and an SSD. And I get to remove the burdens of playing this turd. And Hyper can say he witnessed someone jumping out of a building, I suppose. I think a few of my character designs in this game are better than the male, except for Volver, he looks pretty good. Just because you want to jerk off to the women does not necessarily mean that the men look terrible.
This weird ocean we're
Like the obviously Egyptian gay guy.
Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
Or this generic looking man-child.
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
And how are you breathing on this planet? We'll never know.
This must be
Yeah, that guy.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
Gay, homophobic. I didn't say anything about that. I'm just saying that he doesn't want to jerk off to the obvious gay guy.
Planet of every last speck of astral energy.
Would I?
It went after Dana.
So arresting.
I mean, when you've got those two standing next to him, I can just pretend.
Back in its day, Rena was
You know, just stare at him, just look at them, just sort of. Yep, that'll do.
after being robbed of its astral energy for so long. Those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
Everyone.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks
Taz
of
will get
it,
that reference.
that's how it remains to this day.
Everyone.
A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume.
But I need to do the lip quivering thing of the
Sights on Dana.
everyone. Everyone.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dana's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
Can we get on with this,
Darkness
please?
both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass. Nothing will survive.
I wonder how long this game would actually be if I skipped every damn cutscene.
It looks
If
like.
I had to hazard a guess, it'd only be about 10 hours,
Let's take a look.
if that. Destroyed remnants, random. They're gonna explain everything one more time, just in case. I swear to God, if they do, I'm skipping that cutscene. I don't care. I do not care. I'm skipping that cutscene. Special owls seem to have appeared throughout Dana.
This is Rena.
Oh, does that mean I can actually go back to
So the
Dana?
question.
I wonder what.
Can I actually go back to? I can. This game isn't even finished yet because I still have side quests. Fuck me in my butt. We just were like, wait, that's illegal. I shit you not, I've skipped a shit ton of cutscenes already. And no, I don't care. The only thing I am doing is I'm looking for those owls because there's, I think, maybe one or two of them that have some decent abilities that I might want, I think. So I will get these at minimum, just because I can't flash over here. You can get one weeb guy on YouTube comments that'll complain on me skipping them. No, because no one's watching me. Do you know how many people are going to watch some pasty white guy sit here and just through every cutscene or skip most of them? No, no one is. I've got to actually sit here and go, oh my god, really? This entire planet is the ocean of the lifeless matter of the alien people? Oh my god. I'm not doing that because I don't care. With decent storytelling, you can figure that out. But I'm not going to sit here for 1 minute and pretend like I want a dick shoved in my throat. Right, so where's the fucking first one? Iglia Wastes. Which is here, so oh yeah, it's there, isn't it? Overreaction YouTube. Oh, I fucking hate that shit. Where you just get thumbnails where people have their mouth so wide that I swear to God they want me to shove my dick in their throat, and it's like, well, you know. How are there still more weapons? Fucking hell. How are there still more fucking weapons? I think that's the one that I need. Ooh. Ooh. This is simply 2 times where everyone was just playing games and not doing it for views. So that's why you watch me, because you know that I don't care that I'm doing this for views. Or maybe I'm playing the long con. Although there is no long con. I want fucking sea bream, man. Just give me a sea bream. Owl number 1. Hoot. Hoot hoot. Vivid Sphere is from Katamari Damacy. Nice. Carry over records. Don't care about carrying over my records. Vest of Secrets. Where's the next one? Runnymede Castle, which is in Calaglu. Which is on... Oh yeah, it's in the Lord's Chamber behind its chair, isn't it? Remember correctly. More I do some popular shit, I gave me a shout out, now become popular. Then it happens, doesn't it? That's never gonna happen because A, I bitch and moan 99% of the times, and B,
I'm not talking about her muscles, you dummy.
how many people would you actually think is gonna sit through anything that I've ever done long enough to realize maybe this guy isn't an asshole? Maybe. So yeah, unless the only way that's happening is if you force someone or paid someone to do it. That is the only way otherwise. Because the problem is, I already know what my issue is. Like, if I actually wanted to make YouTube videos that people would want to watch, I would have to edit these 6-hour videos down. Fucking daily.
I think Hoodle senses something.
Oi, you're not the king here. Oh, increased crit damage. Nice.
This shall be a feast for this.
Battle Maiden Shield. Oh, The Legend of Valkyrie. I've got that game, conveniently. Carry over equipment. Like I say, all of this shit's a fucking New Game Plus, but... whatever. Owl 35 is in Cislodia Revel Prison Tower. Cislodia Revel Prison Tower. And it is on... Hidden Chamber. Which is office, collection room. First floor. Oh, I need to go upstairs. Yeah, like I would have to heavily edit all my shit for that to happen. If I gave a shit, which I haven't done for
grin.
The past like 3-4 years, so.
Poodle, I've...
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who are you looking at? Quit gawking and let's go.
Ow!
Did I finish Castlevania? I haven't played Castlevania. Broken Machine Gun. From a Bandai Namco game? Who knows what that's from? Baraduke, of course. Carry over money and items.
The air here, I can smell it.
What did I play yesterday? Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2. Which is quite literally Castlevania, because it's by the Castlevania guy, so... technically Castlevania. Delphaut's Castle. Which is in Ganoth-Haros. You're not the Lord, silly.
Smell anything?
Hey,
Hey!
Even after staying here.
Oh, Trident. But no, I didn't finish it. Of course I didn't fucking finish it.
I see you've got your relics all lined up again. What are you doing? Huh? They're so bright now.
Oh, it's you two. I was merely tending to my collection.
Don't you think you've polished them enough by now?
You take better care of your relics than you do yourself.
I try to take good care of them. However, no matter how much work I put in, it refused to respond.
I thought you could hear their voices somehow.
I can, but that's all I can do with them. I can't actually engage in conversation with them. Not yet.
What are they saying? Did they really want you to polish them that...
Yes, they did.
My word. This must be the work of Providence.
Provo what now?
Trident from the Legend of Alchemy again. Carryover skills, lovely. The next one is in Menancia. Which is Tenlia Palace. Guard room. I have no idea how the fuck to get to the guard room. Oh, guard room's on the second floor.
Sure is.
Hey!
Was this game released 8 days ago? Basically, yes. Friday last week.
I think Hoodle sent
Ancient Excavator. It's from Mr. Driller. Carryover levels. Did you know so? No. Yep, last week.
going on in the forest.
And the last one is Uninhabited Island. This area can only be accessed upon the side quest Beyond the Grave. This quest is marked on a map. To start it, you need to visit the Tua Seashore. There you'll find a letter in a bottle. Follow the quest through, beat the boss in the alleys right next to where the battle takes place, and I'm going to assume that I can't even do it anyway.
I never...
Just give me a sea bream. Oh, it's a Lelia in a bottle.
Right.
Start quest Beyond the Grave. Just give me my sea bream.
I wonder what we'll find out there this time.
Most likely Zoogles, I would reckon.
I mean, other than them.
That's I'm not a sprite to catch a mackerel, but message in a bottle. Take Mahavar's ship to the uninhabited island, of course. And Mahavar's ship is... Don't know. Oh, and there's a quest on Daik Faisal, of course there bloody well is.
Always good to be back in familiar territory.
In before this quest is like level fucking 80. What's the next weeb action RPG on my list? After this, nothing. Nothing after this. You think I'm playing another weeb game after this? I'm taking a break from weeb games. And the owl is here.
Do you sense one of your friends, Hootle?
Isn't that Almadria's?
So this is where her ship drifted.
Then the one who wrote the letter is...
Alive, but badly wounded. I doubt many of the others have survived.
Let's survey these.
Because the next game that's coming out that I'm getting is
I won't forgive you. Take this.
Metroid Dread.
As impressive as always.
Here I hope that wasn't true.
No, I mean, you're even better than ever. I've never seen Xion actually look flustered.
Did you see?
Sure did. You were checking out Kisara from behind.
So would I.
No, I wasn't.
Hi, Hootle.
Where are you going? If it's in the sky, it's mine.
Lightning!
Dragon swarm.
Really get on my nerves.
It got flyers.
I've got this. Let a marksman handle it.
Mirage, all yours.
You see what happened there as you crossed me. Shouldn't have done that. I'll bring you down. Do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
This could be useful.
You guys want to rest here?
Well, I guess I may not get this done tonight because I've got so many fucking side quests to
Such
do.
a beautiful island.
Yet it's just as full of Zoogles as everywhere else on Dana.
The fact there appears suggests people must have come here in the past, though.
The reason they're gone is simple. The Renans put all of the Danans to...
You're cook.
Hey,
Rinwell, let's get that trophy out of the way.
Night, everyone.
Aquarius Damnation.
I want to
Lovely.
go back to bed.
I really do not see a point in fighting these things. If these things are under level, there's no point in fighting them. I've got the required materials from them.
Look sharp! Lightning
Nice one, Alphen.
Yeah, there's more where that came from.
Now I will go to the little pond just in case there's a sea bream. Fine, hopefully. Not what I wanted. Doubly not what I wanted.
I wonder what we can make with this.
Just what I wanted.
Can't decide. I'll have it.
Third time's the charm. I can at least now make that. I can now make some sashimi.
We've got all the ingredients for that recipe now.
Great. I'll let you cook then.
Wait, what?
And also, just before I head up here, just in case this boss up here is like level 842, I at least have a save point to revert to.
It's you.
No. Well,
I figured I'd find you here, Kelzelik. You knew he'd be here? The handwriting on the note was all too familiar to me.
Did you come all the way out here to mock me, or have you changed your mind about putting me to death?
What if I had?
You have no right. You who abandoned your lordly duties and chose to fraternize with embeddeds of all people! And for what? How could someone as powerful as yourself turn your back upon the crown contest?
Not this again.
I ran from this once, but I must face it now. The crown contest was never for me. I apologize for dragging you along, but I do not regret my choice in the slightest. Listen to me, Kelzelik. People change. They can change given time, and regardless of their race. I know you're a capable man. You could do so much for others if you were so inclined.
Me? Impossible. It's too late for me. Death. Death closes in on me wherever I go.
What?
Big wagon. Very big wagon.
That's Almetrius.
Is she alive too?
It's death!
59. Yeah, I am not fighting this anytime soon.
There's nothing more fearsome than a wounded beast.
Especially without its master.
Well, I'm not leaving it to its own devices.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to fight this. Being level 45 and all, and being 14 levels under leveled, yeah, there's no way in hell I can fight this. So wait, what does that make him? Level 59, right? That's another side quest that I can't beat that's on my list. I've got 2 level 52 quests. I mean, I'm level 49, I should within reason be able to do them. But Beyond the Grave cannot be done. I only need 59. So I can probably do, what, Farewell Mage? No, God, no, I can't do that one. It's Untamable Rage, I can do that one, and the Flower of Navira, because I think they're level 52 each. So those I should be able to do. But, yeah. I didn't want to recover... Oh. Let me quickly fast forward here, make my sashimi.
We should be able to cook here.
Why are you staring at me?
Sashimi!
Thanks for waiting. All right, it's done.
That's a lot.
That's
Was it?
No, I...
Didn't ask. Move on.
Make sure to get some good rest.
Deepen bond with Alphen. I mean, that'll just happen eventually, but it won't happen by the time I'm done.
Alright, guys. Ready?
Oh, let's add these fucking quests onto the list. If we can do them, we'll do them. Well, I'll do them.
Somebody's asking for help.
Yeah. Alright.
Talk to the merchant in Glannymead Castle, which I do not remember where the hell that is. Oh.
Hey, Alvin, what do you think of that chick over there?
Doesn't look like she really works out.
I'm not talking about her muscles, you...
He's talking about touching tips.
dummy.
It's this fucking guy again.
Oh, great. Good.
And fuck you, your quest is done, you arse. Don't make me cook anything else. Deliver the donuts to Cole and Doc. Donuts? Did they even spell donuts right? I don't think they did they? Nope, they didn't.
We finally made it.
I personally don't know what a do not is, but... Oh, uniform.
We avoided getting roasted in that ring.
Nice. I'm assuming everyone has it. Ooh, a blue noble azure. Obviously that's that quest one.
What we could really use.
Ulzabek. Also the last owl I can't get, or whatever, who cares?
This is something to cap this off.
Sure. Got any ideas on what would be good?
Mabo curry. Fried bread stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Mixed feelings, this is the quest I need to do for him. Talk to Nath. You mean this guy?
Huh? What? All right. Got it.
I can finally do this quest. Well, open up this area, I should say. Since this place has been closed off the entire goddamn game, again, in before this boss is like... As long as it's like level 50-ish, I can fight it. Anything higher.
Is this the barrier that's keeping the Zugolin that Nath mentioned?
Looks like it. Our Zugul pal should be on the other side.
This barrier is weird. It looks old and half-finished. Plus, he said it was okay to break.
I mean, we won't need it anymore once the Zugul's gone, right? So what does it matter?
Tear it down.
Did they really think that barrier was enough for a Zugul like that?
It was. That thing was sturdier than you give it credit for.
Really? So that's the Zugul, huh? This should be a piece of cake.
Don't get careless, Law.
Got a bad feeling about this one.
Me too.
53. Should.
No complaints here.
Dragon Swarm!
Don't mind if I do. There you go. Don't let up.
Armor won't save you.
Eat dirt. This one's mine.
Blazing Flame. Take this.
Hey, Drakenor.
Oh no, you don't. Oh.
I owe you, Theon.
Healing is what my arts do best.
All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction.
I've let you all down.
Stay away from my friend! Dragon Swarm!
Not on my watch.
The earth throbs in pain. Can't get out of this.
Rising Wyvern!
It looks like you got this one covered. Seal.
Take this!
I would have waited. Shion, could you please? Thank you. Oh, you motherfucker. Just casually backhands me. Again, I'm in the middle of a fucking attack animation, but of course the developers don't care, do they?
Defeat. Armor won't save you.
Now, while it's reeling,
Take it down.
no further.
It's time to
Perfect timing.
die. Consuming wildfire. If it's in the sky, it's mine. Mega ray. This one's mine.
Blazing flame. Dragon swarm.
Lightning orb.
Dragon swarm. Take it. This one's all mine. Not today. Take it. First dragon swarm. Carve through armor. Rising lava.
Leave the charges to me. Sleep now.
No escape.
I'll be
Blazing dragon swarm.
Mega ray.
I'm not Rising wyvern. Take this.
In a vine?
Mirage. I'm on. You're finished. Flame inside me. Yours will be let free. Dragon swarm. Eat this. Rising wyvern. I'll smash you. Try harder. Not a chance.
I don't know what I'd do without you. I really don't.
Luna Rondo. Mirage. Dragon Come on.
In a vine? Pay for that. Anything in order is all mine.
Dragon swarm. Slash. You're finished. Burn.
Ready to go.
Swallow blood.
Deny. I'll heal you all.
Dragon swarm.
Oh, doubly fuck off, you cunt.
Arts require complete folk resuscitation. I'll heal you all.
Not done yet. Take this.
Healing.
Dragon swarm.
I can do this all day. Anything in armor is all mine. You can't get out of this.
Astral energy.
Say no more.
Now comes the problem part. Because now he'll have his ultimate move, which means he'll just be one-shotting everyone, probably. I didn't think that would work.
Try harder. Not a chance. I'm not done.
What's this?
This one's mine.
Escape.
Can't get out of this.
Can't move.
Excuse me, Shion, could you... If you don't mind. You heal him and not me? You're a dick. You're an absolute wanker. I mean, he probably died first, but... Casually reses the weak guy. This is why the AI blows. And why games like this I'm not a massive fan of them. See? Because everyone could easily be in a position to dodge this shit, but they just don't. That animation's bullshit. Yeah, you don't have enough, do you? You see my biggest gripe with this game? Let's just ignore the story for 1 minute. You see my biggest gripe with this game? Does a whirlwind attack that you can literally walk away from before he even... whilst he's waiting to summon it, you could literally just tiptoe your way out of the way before he uses it and stand there and stare at him. But the AI, instead of just... Oh yeah, I can keep hitting him. Oh yeah, hitting this boss monster's so good. And then they get stuck in a fucking area of effect attack and they all just get murdered. Because they're too stupid to run away from that shit. They are. Like, I don't really have... much in the ways of shit that I can do. And it's just really fucking annoying. What quest is this? Mixed feelings. I think it's 53. Fucking joke it is. Like, I'm more than willing to just ignore the story and whatnot, because that's down to personal preference. But when it comes to this gameplay, because it is action oriented and it gets that bad sometimes, like sometimes the AI is just beyond stupid.
Leo Temple.
Yeah, it's just infuriating.
Wasn't it beautiful? I can't wait for this.
Oh, just great.
Cheers! What?
Nice try, you two.
Never. Why?
Wait, something's wrong.
I couldn't catch it.
Oh no.
I'm alone.
What can I do to get her to snap?
Alvin?
Kiss her. Phone her. I don't know.
You're not alone. There's also, so please, we'll fight this together.
You dummy! That's not what I was upset about. How many times? That said, even if your bouquet is just a weapon named after one,
I'm just glad I could help.
you never cease to amaze me.
Oh, a character's bouquet. Oh, wedding cake cutter. Yes. Gimme. And a silver suit of armor. I want to see this wedding cake cutter.
Feeling better?
It is actually better. I mean, if it's better. And the bouquet is also better. Nice. I'll take them. They're also don't just get suit of armor. Oh no, it's a artifact, which is from the Tower of Draugr. EXP boost. Oh, an extra 20% EXP. I could have fucking done at the beginning of the game, but sure, whatever. Oh, and Glutton's Code, Pac-Man. Nice.
Now, Shion?
I'm sorry.
Well, at least I have a half-decent quest reward for that. It's fucking cake cutter of all bloody things. But then even after all of this, I won't have any quests left. Because I'm just so underleveled for all of them.
It's not like I have any room for criticism.
Being a grown-up isn't easy, is it?
Yes! Excuse me!
Really now?
What?
I see.
Very nice.
Dohalim? The line of researchers is getting... longer.
No.
Perhaps I should have put more thought into this.
I'm just getting up the list of side quests just so I know what I have and haven't done. Which most of them will be done, but this will take a quick second. Oh, this is gonna be annoying. Because two fucking keyboards and this one's getting in the way, so I can Control C, Control V. The only thing I wish PowerPoints did with this, provided you can even hear me, but I wish the only thing PowerPoints did with this was list this shit instead of also adding in, like, put a list at the top so I can click on links that just hyperlink me down to the bottom of the page. Because no one is going to know which quest they're going to may or may not have done. Unless you follow this guide directly, of course. I know, obviously I've done, what did I say, 50? So 50 of these obviously I have done. I'm then just assuming the other ones besides these 9, which leaves 11. There's 11 quests that I know nothing about, either because I need to beat the game or I need to beat another quest to get the other quest. Like Owl Sanctuary, I can't beat it until I do Beyond the Grave. Won't go away. Alright, now we go through them all. Sorry about that. No. This is also going to take. Actually, no, if I do it this way. I know the Owl Forest, I've got it, but I can't do it. Why have we all of a sudden gone from Subquest 1 and fucking twat? Why is this not in any order? No, fuck this, I can't be arsed. I'm not gonna put this in a fucking order, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Oh, hey, here's quest 1, here's quest 82, here's quest 12. I'm fucking arsed.
Looks like we've warped it into that pit of astral energy.
Helganquil! Guess they don't need their Red Woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use. We're not going to get through to them.
So they really are being controlled. In that case, we've got no choice.
I knew there was something off here!
They're not pulling punches. We have no choice but to beat them at their own game.
No more Miss Nice Girl!
You picked the wrong fight!
The enemy wields arc too.
You'll soon see about that. Astral energy!
Say no more!
Well done!
My turn! The flame and tide to be let free!
Illuminate the dark! I owe you, Sion. Healing is what my art do best. All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction.
Nothing gets by me! I can carve through armor!
We're cleaning house!
Let me take the rest of it!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Here's a healing
My turn!
Alphen.
I can't forgive them for what they've done, but I hate killing them. They don't even know why they're fighting. How does that even make them any different from the Dahnan slaves?
Perhaps. However, if we don't make a choice, the guilt of not doing anything will be that much worse.
Yeah, I know. I hate for it to be like this. But if it happens again, you won't find me hesitating to act.
I wonder if we're going to get attacked again.
If we lose heart now, this whole mission is over.
Good, because I've lost heart already.
We haven't...
Just look.
Finally. If only we could have flown with the wind to get here faster.
What?
It's important to get your rest.
Good. This came out. You should get some shut-eye. All right, guys. Ready to go?
Yep, and as of right now, I'm done. I will come back to this tomorrow and finish it. Because I do not have the time. So that means you get me for a while. And you can have me do whatever the hell you want, but no, I can't get my PP out. But anyway, in terms of anyone watching on YouTube, partially apologise for somewhat giving up at this point, but hey ho, the end is in sight. I will go about my own business, see what I can get done with this in my own time, and then finish it. And until then, I'll see you next one. Ta-ta.